Toastmaster Swayam, frilly dresses and turtlenecks. Frilly dresses and turtlenecks, Toastmaster Swayam.
It was still dark outside when my alarm started blazing into my ears. With one eye open and the other still in deep slumber, I banged into the table looking for my phone. 5:30 a.m., it said. Dragging myself across the room and into the washroom, I splashed cold water on my face. I draped whatever clothing I found and left my house. Contest chair, contest master, judges, and my fellow Toastmasters, good afternoon. You might be wondering, why did she wake up so early in the morning? Yes, it's one of those lifestyle changes you make throughout quarantine. Unlike my gourmet chef phase, which lasted around 7 days, the baker phase, which lasted 2.5 days, the artist phase for 10 days, and the poet phase for 0.75 days, my waking up early and going for a walk phase lasted surprisingly long. Those cold mornings were very harsh, and it made so hard for me to keep going. But there was one thing that made me get out of bed every morning, and that was, what dress is she going to wear today? It was a girl around my age who stood near a patch of flowers in the garden of an orphanage nearby. I couldn't help but stare at how beautifully she was dressed every morning. She had a wide range of fashionable clothes, from sleeveless frilly dresses, which showed her skinny and scarred arms, to turtlenecks and full pants, which covered her body. I noticed one thing. On the days that she wore turtleneck tops, her gaze looked beautiful, yet sorrowful. I was curious about her, but I was too scared to walk into an orphanage without the permission. Luckily for me, the Rotary Club that my mom's a part of decided to sponsor that same orphanage and make some visits. So I tagged along. The orphanage looked really beautiful with marble floors and beige walls. The room was filled with the kids' laughs and the jingles of their anklets. The aunties and I danced and sang with the kids all day long. It was a lovely experience, and I immediately signed up for the next meet as well. As we were leaving the orphanage, a little kid at the back of the room caught my eye. He seemed reserved, trying not to get noticed. I went towards him to try and talk to him. As I moved my hands towards him, he screamed, "No, don't touch me, please!" And he pulled his sleeves of the shirt down as if trying to hide something. I took a closer look and I saw that he had a bad wound on his arm. I helped him clean it up and bandaged it. And after that, he pointed towards another girl, saying, "She is hurt as well." When I went to her and pulled up her sleeve, I saw a similar kind of wound on her too. I was quite surprised to see these cute little kids hurt, but I didn't think much of it, since they might have simply gotten hurt by playing outside. So that day, I left, which I say was a big mistake. A few weeks later, the club decided to do a surprise visit to the orphanage and celebrate some kids' birthdays. However, when I entered the room, the laughter that I was expecting had died out. I couldn't hear the sounds of the anklets anymore, and the beige colored walls had turned dark gray. This time, I noticed even more kids had wounds on their arms and legs. When I asked them how they got hurt, they wouldn't reply. All they did was look down towards the ground. After persistently asking them about it again and again, one of the older kids finally opened up to us. She said that the caretakers of the orphanage often hit and beat the kids up with steel rulers when they misbehaved. Even just dropping a little food on the floor resulted in heavy punishment. They released their frustration and anger on these poor kids every chance they got. And whenever they cried or tried telling someone about it, these kids were locked up in a dark room with no food for days. The aunties of the Rotary Club decided to contact some NGOs and other authorities to quickly take action against them and fix this entire issue. On the outside, India's orphanages seem safe havens for the India's homeless street children. Secretly, orphanages are dens of cruelty to children, even though we expect nothing but kindness. Exploitation, sexual and psychological violence, and abuse at these orphanages is apparently very common. That girl standing near the patch of flowers every day went through the same thing when she grew up over here. And turtlenecks was something she wore to cover up her scars and trauma. And when I saw her the next day, I hugged her tightly and tears trickled down my face. I felt so much regret when I realized that I could have saved those kids earlier, but I didn't take their wounds seriously. I take this as a lesson for all of us to never ignore any negative signs around you. You may end up saving someone's life. Contest Master.